Look, latex on, this ain't safe sex, hun. I was rolling around strapped in a bay test one. And bro, had to change. Next one, cause the great Astra made their pagans run. Oh shit. And the pigs, even they clocked on. Grip sticks rolling with a blade got long. Call me slick Rick. I was trying to shave up dons, and I was click, trying to get you shaped up dons. Broke boy, get your cake cut, get some beige cut, or get a day job. And you know I'm staying gang, I won't say much. I'ma eat up your food, get my weight up, and then got a blade tuck, need a strip take tuck. Mary Berry in the trap, I just bake off. Start gun, they will race off. And if he face off, I'm trying to take his face off. You gotta whack right, you gotta act right. And if I ever see her up, then it's that time. Oh, bro got locked in a box for a trap line. It's all nuts, he was trying to make his tag time. I still draw in the field, I'm a slap mind. Rips the clip, trying to make a nigga flatline. Shit's fucked, it should matter about a black life. Still make a black brother wear black ties, that line. I was in a B-cap, now I'm with a B-cap. G-packs, I'ma make him relapse. Jogging in a jailhouse, I was selling sheets at quick handshakes, so the screws didn't see that. Quick, where to, rolling with my seat back. Check the rear view, thinking fuck a teapack. True, they want my cell closed, tell them I don't need that. I like my bread toast, they won't let me heat that. Ain't no Cardi B whack, it's a 9 milli. If I put it in your lap, would you ride with me? Jump on road just to die silly. And them niggas never rib. Tell my niggas just don't lie to me, my kitty. If I die, help my mum out and then bring a gun out. Niggas just scream R.I.P. cause they're done out. My nigga got touched, I was shocked when we got out. Big ting, I'll do time or I'll die for my siblings. Let me get an inkling, there's any ops chilling. I'll slide through with pillars. Roll with the smoke trying to bill him. It's peak if I ever get his billing. I'll drill him up, sneaks, I got cavity teeth. He needs filling up, still trying to stack all my peas. Till they're filling up. I just spoke to a fiend, said he's keen, then phone back for a 3-on-1. Shit's fucked, I'm still serving. Seaside line bidding up, I need workers, I'm hiring. This shit's tiring. I don't know why it's me they're admiring. I jump in the whip with the firing my while I'm tying in my cup. It's a street life. Ain't no sweet life, no cordial slap. With a G-type, my cordial slap. Let the heat rise, then phone for a pack. Yeah, 3-5, the food like it's nothing. Smoke till I'm coughing. Bro, what's the angle? Bro told me nothing, he knows we ain't stopping. If anything pops off, would have been brown bread if bro let the dots off. Oh shit, switch up the SIM card just in case cops watch. I've been playing hopscotch, numbers and hotspots. I see a up.
How you doing, guys? Please, before we start, let me know if the sound is okay. Can you hear me? Does it sound good? Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me well. Yeah, that's very important. It would be very upsetting if the sound is not good. Good on sound. Okay, awesome. Great. So, yeah, so I'm going live today. As you can probably see from the title, I'm gonna talk a little bit about chaos magic and what that is, right? Because I always look at what people are curious about, and when you're a little bit observant, you will see synchronicities happening in your life, right? And a synchronicity for me is essentially, in this case, multiple people in a very short time frame asking the same or very similar questions about a specific topic, right? Now, in this case, the question, what is chaos magic, is what captured my attention. Okay. So, what is chaos magic? What is chaos magic? Now, two buzzwords, right? Chaos and magic. The problem is though, it's. Let me begin somewhere else, okay? And we're gonna begin in the 1970s in the United Kingdom, in England to be specific. Yeah. There, we had a group of magicians that were experimenting with different traditions, different magical systems, and they were all sort of influenced uh, by another magician called Oswald Spear. Okay, sorry, Oswald Spear. Okay, Austin Oswald Spear, and that guy was an artist in the early 20th century, and also a magician, and he was very, very influential when it came to sigil magic. He's one of the inventors, you could say, one of the inventors of chaos magic. You know, he was uh, implementing his artistic talent in his magical practice, and he was the one, that basically came up with the foundation of what we know as the word method of sigil creation these days. If you've been studying with me for a while, I'm sure you've learned that how to basically write out your intention, your desire, and then create a sigil out of that, right? So basically, he was an influence on those guys. Besides that, they had studied, of course, the Golden Dawn system, right? The Golden Dawn system um, is, hmm, how do I put it? Well, the Golden Dawn system, in its influence on ceremonial magic in the Western Hemisphere, is probably only matched by Goetic magic, you know. So what I'm basically trying to say is essentially that the Golden Dawn was key for so many different magicians, so many different. It had so much influence in so many different people, and it became essentially the foundation for many, 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 many other systems, magical orders, as well as um, was a training ground uh, for many magicians that were to become important in the occult scene, right? The Golden Dawn itself has a structure that is similar to what you would find in Freemasonry, right? Even though, I mean, Freemasonry. Uh, by the way, most Freemasons, maybe some of you guys are Freemasons, but most Freemasons that you will meet are not really knowledgeable when it comes to magic. You know, um, maybe, maybe if they if they take their studies a little bit more seriously, maybe they're going to understand the esoteric part or the mystical part of Freemasonry too, right? The numerology that's all encompassing in their system, the geometric structures, and what the great architect actually means, right? And but most Masons that I know, they don't even understand what the different positions and the structures in their own temple mean. Like really, like the symbology behind it, you know. where I'm not going to go into that right now. Maybe on a different call, I'm going to talk about the system of Freemasonry, right? Which is in itself a huge topic, and there's not just one system of Freemasonry. There are many others, but the bottom line is this: so the Golden Dawn was essentially in its structure to a large extent based on Freemasonic rites, and the Golden Dawn was one of the most influential magical orders, period. Yeah, and the guys that were influenced by Osmond Spare, pardon me, Austin Oswald Spare, and became essentially the founders of Chaos Magic, were also they went through the school of the Golden Dawn, and of course were also Crowleyites and Thelema and all this stuff, right? Bottom line is this: in the 1970s, you had mostly British guys. There was also one German guy, and they would come together and experiment, magical experiments, just like any other science. just like any other art. You progress by comparing notes, you know, um, you know, working with each other, and hopefully, profiting from a synthesis of different opinions. That's what they were doing. And Phil Heath, by the way, Phil Heath, sorry, Phil Hine, also a big name when it comes to chaos magic. Not Phil Heath, Phil Hine, pardon me. So what they would find is essentially, since they were really open-minded and were studying many different magical systems, they would find that for some reason, all of those systems would work. Now, observing that, they came to a couple of conclusions. Number one, it would mean that the religious part, the religion that is often associated with magic, I mean, less so nowadays, but back then in the 1970s, still, um, there was a very, very strong religious element to magic, in a sense that people who were practicing, Kabbalistic magic, to an extent, really bought into the complete truthfulness of the cosmology that is presented in the Kabbalah, including Yahweh being the only God there is, and so on and so forth, right? But at the same time, they could see that, for instance, voodoo practitioners would get massive, massive results, or Taoist magic would be extremely efficient. Observing all of that, they had to come to the conclusion that it was not about the system, but it was more about the individual that was using the system. Okay. And looking at the different magical systems with that lens, they were able to isolate the techniques that would make a system work. You could have two different people, okay? Two different people, and one of them is a trained magician, the other one, or let me put it differently. Let's say you have two people, and they both use the same magical system, but get completely different results. Meaning, one of them is going to get results, the other one's not going to get results. Okay, so it's not about the system; it is about the individual magician. And they were able to, like I said earlier, they were able to isolate specific techniques that every magician has to have or has to implement in a ritual in order to make the system work for himself. Yeah. And they found that it was true through experiments that if the person was using those techniques correctly, they could indeed make every magical system work for themselves. Whether it was Hinduist magic, okay, or Taoist magic, or some ATRs, or let's say goetic magic. It was about the techniques that were being used, right? What techniques do we talk about? For one, it is about entering an altered state of consciousness. Number two is about concentration. Concentration. Number three, it's about being able to clearly visualize. You see, so based on that, they came up with a couple of axioms. An axiom, what is an axiom? An axiom is essentially a statement that that functions like a pillar of your system. Okay, so one of those was the chaos magician, and I'm gonna let you know why it is called chaos magic in just a second, right? But they essentially said, okay, a chaos magician has to have the pillar of good technique. Yeah, right. You might have heard me repeat those statements a couple times before, right? I always stress technique. You have to have good technique in order to make your magic work. It's all about the technique. It doesn't matter what system you use. It doesn't matter what spirit you work with. You have to have good technique, right? So that's one of the pillars of chaos magic. You have to have good technique. Number two, you have to you have to be able to make paradigm shifts. What is a paradigm shift? It means that you have to be able to fully buy into a system as you're using it. It doesn't matter if you drop it after the ritual, but as you're using it, you have to be able to fully immerse yourself in the worldview that is purported through or symbolized through the magical system that you're using. That's the second pillar. Okay. And based on that, which is kind of like a consequence out of the second pillar, the third pillar is that belief is a technique. It's just a tool. Belief is just a tool. So, apodictically, or rather putting it a little bit bluntly, it means that the chaos magician is agnostic in a sense where he believes in everything and nothing, which at the end of the day is the same thing, right? So if you believe in everything, you believe in nothing. At the same time, if you believe in nothing, you actually believe in everything, right? They're one and the same thing. Nothing and everything are the same thing. Do you see that? It's like the vacuum of space or complete emptiness contains all potential for something appearing in it, if you know what I mean. Okay, so oneness and nothingness are one and the same thing. Now, the chaos magician believes in everything and nothing. What does that mean? Belief is a technique. If I want to use a system, I will 100% believe in the spirits that are part of that system. I will believe in the worldview, the cosmology, and everything else, the energies that are purported within that system. I will completely adopt that until I won't anymore. Then it has served its purpose. And on the other side, I can either use a different system or go back to my agnostic worldview again, right? Now, nowadays, in 2023, with access to so many different, so much, so many different forms of information, magical systems, people that you can listen to. This is the 1970s. Remember, this is still a time that um, is much more conservative than today. People are still trying to, you know, it was a completely different society. Okay, now we had like a societal revolution in the 60s, but nothing like what we're seeing now. So this was quite revolutionary. It's much less revolutionary today because we basically live in a day and age where everybody can essentially design their life to the way they want. Like, oh, you want a little bit of this, you want a little bit of that. Yeah, I'm like from Monday to Tuesday, I'm a Buddhist. After that, I'm kind of like a Mormon, and then this and that and the other, right? Like, I mean, or let's say the concept of gender. Nowadays, people are much more fluid when it comes to that. But back then, the idea of being able to use a belief system, drop it and go to a new one and immerse yourself in that one, that was kind of revolutionary, specifically in magical circles, right? So, um, that had many, many different implications for magic as a whole, as well as their worldview. So, as a chaos magician, um, you had to have sort of like a meta worldview. Yeah, meta means that's Greek for above or beyond. Okay, so if I have a meta belief system, it means that I have the belief that I can use every belief system uh, to the same extent and make it work for me. Now, of course, I can have different, um, specializations or preferences, but at the end of the day, remember what I said. One of the pillars is that belief is just a tool. Belief is a tool. So I'm here. This is my worldview. I'm here. I have this meta belief that the the observer can have an effect on what is being observed. Okay, based on science, quantum physics. I also know that there are different belief systems that include different types of spirits, different cosmologies, whatnot, and they are designed to help the person use their mind to have an effect on the outside world. All right. And I have these different belief systems. I have Taoism. I have, Christian magic. I have, tantric stuff. I have this and that and the other. There's a whole plethora. There are many, many different magical systems out there. And I'm here. They're here. And I'm the chaos magician that is able to use them and then drop them again. Now that requires quite some, um, maybe it's not clear how revolutionary that is and to what extent that requires compartmentalization, right? Because as we're moving through life and as we're going throughout our day, we're constantly moving, guided by some sort of a worldview, if that makes sense. Okay, we have a subconscious structure that determines how we perceive things, how we look at things, um, how we deal with things, and how we interpret things. If you are able to use magical systems like that, it requires kind of like an abstraction. You are truly at a meta level, and this is what chaos actually means. Chaos is not necessarily destructive; it's more like creative chaos, if that makes sense. Creative disorganization. So one of the symbols of chaos magic is the eight-pointed star. And in reality, it's kind of like a sphere with eight different rays. Okay, and that's kind of like above all of them. It's not necessarily a system. It's more like an approach to the universe. It's a sphere with eight arrows. You know, eight-pointed star, and each one of those arrows has a different color, standing for different forms of magic. For instance, the war magic or destructive magic would be red. Then you have wealth magic, which will be blue, and so on and so forth, right? Just to give some form of a reference there, right? But that's really um, most of it. Chaos magic is very technique based. It's about solid, good techniques, but it opens up an enormous amount, actually an infinite amount of different reality tunnels that you can use to affect the outside world through your magic. Yeah, including uh, pantheons, which a pantheon is basically a cosmology or a certain set of god forms that are not usually used in magical operations. Now, it's very much accepted that you would do a ritual with Archangel Michael, but you could also use Donald Duck, the energy of Donald Duck in a magical ritual. As long as you stay consistent inside the cosmology that you've chosen for your ritual, you can use every system out there. Let me give you an example. See, every pantheon, every set of characters out there that we are able to process and interact have a reflection in archetypes. Yeah. An archetype represents a basic psychological quality that we all have. That's why we recognize it. That's why we resonate with it. That's why fairy tales, for instance, they always include a prince. We recognize that. They include a warrior or something like that, right? We resonate with that. It's deep, deep, deep in our psyche, collective unconscious, as Jung would say. And we have, the archetype of the magician, for instance, the archetype of the princess, the archetype of the king, the queen, and all these things, right? Those are those are things that are cross culturally omnipresent, and they're part of our psychological makeup, and they can trigger strong emotional responses and allow us to affect magic. Yeah, and when you look at, for instance, fantasy movies or something like that, or comic book figures, comic book characters. They will always reflect and resonate with some form of an archetype within our mind. Yeah. This is, by the way, why most of this woke shit does not work. Right. What they've forgotten is that we're dealing with ancient levels of the mind. In our mind, the archetype of the warrior is a man. But what they're trying to do is essentially they're trying to push a woke agenda where they're talking about the female archetype of the warrior. The archetype in our deep, deep, deep subconscious, the warrior is a man. The magician is also a man. There's also the archetype of a witch, sure. But they're definitely separate characters, right? But that's a side note. So the point is, um, when you look at something like the Fantastic Four, maybe you've heard of those guys, right? The Fantastic Four, those are comic book characters. What do they represent? They represent the four elements. That's why they resonate with us. We got, we got the torch, obviously that's fire. We got the bee, the thing representing air. Sorry, pardon, representing earth. Then we got Mr. Plastic. Mr. Plastic. Is that his name, Mr. Plastic? Plastic. Yeah, Richard Reed, I think. And that guy represents water because he's so flexible. Yeah. And then we got his sister that represents air. She can fly and create like these bubbles of thoughts, right? You know what I mean? So this is what I mean. In order for something to have a magical effect on our psyche, and it's not just our psyche. When something affects us deeply at a deep, deep subconscious level, it will have an effect on the outside world as well. So we need to destabilize ourselves psychologically in the ritual, rearrange our psychological makeup, and that will then create a different external reality, which can be objectively observed. This is not just something that happens in your own head, right? Now, uh, but in order to trigger a reaction in our subconscious, it needs to have a connection to some of those archetypes. You see, every demon that you find out there, and like you know, goetic magic, for instance, has some sort of an archetypal uh, counterpart. Yeah. So chaos magic essentially means that if you're a good chaos magician, what you're able to do is immerse yourself, and immersion means you can make a system, or you can adopt a system to such an extent that you can make it work. Okay. And that's what's behind chaos magic. And your belief is basically that you believe in everything and nothing, which gives you maximum freedom and maximum power, right? Because certain systems are better for one thing than another, or certain god forms are good for one thing versus another, right? For instance, if you want to work a court case, you will definitely see that Thoth, even though Thoth and Mercury stand for the Thoth and Hermes stand for the same type of energies, but they're completely different. They have very, very different outcomes, as you will see. It's a different energy track, different energy tunnel. energy quality, and when you have access to many, many different pantheons and many different energies, and I hope you know that Thoth and Hermes are not part of the same magical pantheon, right? They serve kind of like the same function. They even Hermes is even derived from Thoth, but it's a different energetic quality. It feels different, different effects on the outside world. So the benefit of being a chaos magician is that you have access to essentially an unlimited amount of different energy archetypes. That makes you very, very versatile and very powerful. That's the benefit, right? But there's also a downside to it, where a lot of chaos magicians are shit at what they do. Why? Because to them that means, oh, I don't have to understand it that deeply. Doesn't matter. I can just skim through this system, that system. I can read a page here, I can read this. I can study it like for 2 days and this for 3 days, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is not how it works. Remember what I said at the beginning. Good technique. You need good technique. And good technique includes, like I said, you need concentration, visualization. You need the ability to alter your state of consciousness, sense energy, direct energy, all of these things, right? But on top of that, good technique. As a good magician, you're also somebody who can do solid research, immerse yourself in the system. You need to know a lot of things. In fact, I believe a good magician needs to be an expert in many, many different fields. The more fields, the better. History, archaeology, sciences, various sciences, alchemy, astrology, um, numerology, geography, uh, literature. You know, did I say science? I said science, right? So, art, extremely important. Art. I'm realizing that more and more and more and more. Up until like 3, 4 years, I wasn't even that much into art, but I realized the importance of it. You have to also study different languages. Music, yeah, music, absolutely. Music's art. But yeah, you're right, music. So as a magician, you need to complete yourself in all of those fields. Or I mean, it's impossible to complete yourself in those fields in one lifetime, right? But you should at least attempt to do that because it increases your ability to affect reality. The deeper you understand things, the more you're going to be able to affect, right? I think something on your shoulder is moving. Um, I don't think so. So good. So what is chaos magic? There's a spider? I think you're fucking with me, huh? Okay. F96. That's funny. My friend, if you think you can hide behind an anonymous name, and I'm not able to know who you are definitely not a magician, and you definitely don't know who you're talking to. Okay, so I don't want to listen. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm not doing that. But I think let's drop this dumbass. Okay, all right. Let's see. Okay, all right, guys. So let's come back to the topic. Chaos magic. Chaos magic means that you use belief and magical systems simply as tools. You don't turn it into a religion. Okay, that's the problem with a lot of people. All right. You also don't put yourself below any spirits, which you shouldn't do anyways, right? You're not a religious person, you're a magician. Now, there are people who are religious, and there is definitely a value in. Let me say this. Okay, now if you if you're practicing, let's say, Solomonic magic, it could definitely be useful and helpful to adopt a belief that is part of that magical system. But we always have to understand that belief is simply a tool. Okay, belief is a tool, and this tool allows us to affect deep levels of our own psyche. And when we're able to affect deep levels of our own psyche, and if we're able to affect deep levels of our own psyche, um, we're able to move energies. You see, remember, the world. I did a lecture yesterday on psychic seduction, right? And I was explaining how a spell works. Okay, I was talking about energy fields that were being moved and were being created, and these energy fields or information fields serve as a blueprint. And they're being filled up with energy, and then they manifest physically. Okay, just like a house has a physical component to it, but it also has a blueprint, an information to it, right? Like the architect creates like a blueprint, an energy that um, that is later filled up through the work of many different people, right? And at the end of the day, you got a house. So everything that exists has this information blueprint around it. So what we do as magicians is we create these blueprints. Okay, we create these blueprints, and they will then be filled up with energy and manifest. Okay, so that is what we're doing. But in order to be able to influence these information fields, we need a lot of emotion, we need a lot of energy behind it. And that's why we need things, magical systems, belief systems that allow us to trigger deep levels of our mind, of our psyche. And then we're able to transfer that over. Right? So that's basically it. Um, let's take some questions here. Do we have questions besides some retards talking shit? Listen, F96 and Nana Chime. Listen. This is obviously going above people's heads. You know, I explicitly said this is not for children. They should give us the option of not having retards on too. That would be great. Explicitly not for retards. F96 and whoever else was fucking around here. Okay, dumbass. Okay. Next time I'm gonna give my life the title uh, "No Retards Allowed." You know, I hope people could. I hope I could make people take an IQ test before they're allowed to watch my stuff. Like seriously, I'm like, how dumb can you? How fucking retarded can you be? Okay, um, let's see. Let's see. Hey Frank, good to see you again. How are you? I was in class yesterday as a guest. Will I be able to access the replay? Um, you know, if you find the group on Facebook, it's called School of Psychic Seduction. You'll be able to see the replay there when it's posted. It's not posted yet, but it will be. Frank, what is the Philosopher's Stone? Oh man, I'm not going to go into that right now. Maybe another time. Hey, brother, can you tell me more about the spirit Phallic? Is it true that he can bring passionate lovers to someone? What have you heard about the spirit? I have worked with him quite a bit. You know, he's one of the one of the Olympian spirits. And I mean, if you want love work done and you want to work with that pantheon, I would work with Hagit. You know, what magical systems have you personally practiced? A lot. A lot. Okay. What is the mindset of a master magician? What are the keys to unlock one's power? You dedicate yourself to a path and then you let time do the work. That's it, my friend. It is a choice to take this path, to make this your life's path, and then you stick to the path, and time will do the work and turn you into that thing, into a magician. Journey never ends, um, but it stops being about the manifestations. Obviously, you can manifest pretty much whatever you want, but it's not about that anymore. It's about personal growth and becoming all that you can be, really. And that's it. But you have to dedicate yourself, and then you let time do the work. That's it. Probably not the best reference. Wow, very insightful points. Thank you. What magical systems have you personally practiced? Many. Are demons real or part of us? They're objectively real, but that doesn't mean they're not. I mean, that's more like a question from what perspective you look at it, right? At the end of the day, at the end of the day, everything is interconnected. You, me, everything is connected. Therefore, you're also connected to spirits, right? But on a workable basis, something that has practical implications. No, they're not part of you. Are they objectively real? Have their own intentions, will, and all that stuff? Yes. I'm not answering questions in regards to blood magic. That's not a topic I'm comfortable talking about. Please stop. Don't ask questions about that. Do Olympic spirits respond well to Reiki? Yeah, the ones that are not Saturnian. How about you launch a course for tuning into your energy, as it seems this is what it takes to do any magic, love, money, etc. Where have you been, my friend? Where have you been? Listen, I'm like I teach that in every single thing that I do. You know, like every seminar that I've ever taught was part of that, or that was part of every seminar that I've done. Say hi to JJ and I will sub. You will sub? Hey, listen, I don't give a shit if you sub or not. Okay? Maybe I allow you to subscribe when you suck. How about that? Listen, this is not some channel with some idiot sitting here that is desperate for a like or a view. I could give a shit. I really could give a shit. My magical ability has grown exponentially since I began on the School of Adepts. Thank you. Oh, it's great to hear that. Frank, how does baneful magic work? I'm not going to talk about baneful magic on YouTube either. How oh, you have taught me how powerful our minds truly are. Well, thank you. Great to hear that. Hi, Frank. Glad to catch you live. Hope you're well. How do you recommend implementing astrology in trading? Oh my God. Hey, that's that's a long lecture. I'm not going to talk about that right now. Good. Can it be dangerous working with spirits, or will a circle always protect you? Oh man, there are many. There are many factors to that. Okay, so do you? First of all, what spirits do you mean? I'm assuming you are talking about a demon, a goetic demon. I mean, if you do that, you would need to or should invoke the angel that controls that demon. That gives you a level of protection. On top of that, you would do a banishing ritual, and you have also a triangle that constricts the spirits to a certain area. So the circle alone is not going to be enough to protect you now. Listen, the way yeah, let's put it like that. I'm I'm going to leave it at that. So would a Saturnian angel not respond well to Reiki either? Any spirit corresponding with Saturnian energy? Nope. Okay. I think demons are the original angels. That's good. If for magicians, entity come in one go, then why did in ancient times asuras did so much daily sadhana to call gods and get their blessings for eggs to be immortal? For eggs to be immortal. If for magicians entities come in one go, then why did in ancient times asuras did so much daily sadhana to call gods and get their blessings for eggs to be immortal? I mean, in Hinduism, the asuras. My friend, any ancient scripture is not to be taken literal ever. Okay. Now, there are parts that might be semi accurate, but this is a scripture that is thousands of years old. Okay. And if you think this is an actual diary entry, this is scheduled, this and this and this and this, man, this is not how you interpret or read or study spiritual texts. Okay. This is always metaphorical. We're talking about spiritual principles. Okay. Hello, what is your name? My name's Frank. Call me Aurelius. What is your favorite grimoire? I don't have a favorite one. I want to get rid of shin splints. Like what? What? Kamu orang manabang. I don't understand that. When summoning spirits from different pantheons, how much time after banishing the previous spirit can I summon another one? Is it okay to summon back to back with banishing in between? No. You should summon during the planetary hour that they should be summoned at. Um, how to get rid of entities that cling onto your aura? Oh man, you need to. I mean, generally speaking, you need to change your frequency, change the yeah, change what you're resonating with. But there are many other things that I. This is a how do I put it, man? Long topic, deep topic. I can't explain all of that in 2 minutes. How long does it take to reprogram your subconscious beliefs? If we use Psyche, for instance, how will we verify we've installed a new belief? Would something change in the outside world? When you do Psyche, you usually also include muscle testing. Um, that's something that's used in kinesiology. Okay. Kinesiology, muscle tests. If you type that into YouTube, you will find many. And based on that, you will be able to see if your subconscious agrees with the new belief that you have installed. Okay. Frank, do Ouija boards actually work, and can you use them to connect with a spirit you wish to speak with? I've tried by myself, but it doesn't move. Yes, they do work. Um, what is your best course to purchase to be able to tune into your energy? I assume probably related to meditation. Uh, I have an idea. Here's what we're going to do. Guys, I'm here for probably another 15 minutes. So if you want to learn chaos magic, type me into the comments. Okay. If I get 20 me's, I will create something that teaches you chaos magic. Okay. So if you want to learn chaos magic, this is for everybody here. If you want to learn chaos magic, type me into the chat. If I see 20 me's, I'm going to create something for you guys to learn chaos magic. Okay. Go. All right. Um, what is the inner game of magic in your own words? The inner game of magic. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I understand that question. Uh, I'm just trying to search for the words to describe that. Um, mm, okay, so for me personally, I'm sure others have different opinions on that, but for me, it's basically uh, regaining control. Oh, here's the thing, man. Listen, the other day I sent out an email. I'm going to read you the email that I sent out um, to my subscribers on my email list, and that will give you my personal interpretation or my personal take on uh, the inner game of magic. Okay. So let me see if I can find that. 1 second. So, unveil the mysteries of psychic seduction. No, that's not it. So Yoshi. All right. Where the fuck is that? Hold on. I have to go into my email list. Yeah. Good question. What is the inner game of magic? Good question. All right. So, what is the inner game of magic? Good. So here it is. Here it is. For fuck's sake. Let's see. Listen, I got 1 second. I gotta. Hmm. How the fuck did that disappear? Okay, I got it. So here it is. You ready? All right, listen. Sorcery as the ultimate act of attaining access, or the uncompleted rebellion of Lucifer. So this is the inner game of magic, according to me, Aurelius Sopax, all right? Ophitica Ouroboros Lucifer. And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from darkness. He was the most beautiful of all the angels and deeply loved by God, until he exposed the real nature of a benevolent creation with a simple act of rebellion. Non-serviam, which means I will not serve. Paradise could only exist through submission. The existence of a God that had already created an unshakable hierarchy within creation with a clear path and end to evolution. The rulership of the strong over the weak, of the proteins over silicates, of laws of nature over chaos. Sorcery is the path of power, the ability to influence, a path that removes the distance between being and consciousness, between predator and prey, between what is and what should not be. And only one can win. There are only two ways, the way of submission and the other one. Why is it so mysteriously called the other one? Because humanity has chosen the path of submission for eons now. Even our language is an expression of the submission, an adaptation of the internal to the external. For almost all humans, the question of which path to take has been answered a long time ago. Never will this question come up again. Sorcery is the battle to gain more and more access and control. The fight against the denial of influence through nature, society, and other disempowerments. To become a sorcerer and to embody Lucifer's rebellion, you have to become an alien in this world. Nothing that used to characterize him as a mortal can stay with him. Was he a materialist? Then he explores materialism to its core. What remains is a pseudo religion of fear born out of the intention to protect oneself against scarcity and the unknown future. Was he a transcendentalist? Then he explores that to its core. Soon the limits are reached, and what remains is a pathetic attempt to reduce fear of death. The attempt to calm people's fear of the unknown. The sorcerer begins to understand that his rebellion is no rebellion. He cannot define himself through the enemy, nor can he allow himself to become satisfied with the breadcrumbs from his table, the material gifts that his growing power will lay into his hands. It is a deep hunger for limitlessness that drives him, an alien existence that has broken through any sense of restriction. Our kingdom is not of this world, and this is why we will conquer this one. Lucifer was bitten by the serpent, and the serpent is himself, and his name is Legion. Rebellion, liberation, and mastery. So that's my take on that mindset. That is my take on what it means to be a magician. That was a that was my mind for you. Here, boom, take that. If I could describe what it feels like in words, that would be it. The world needs to be destroyed, but in not like some idiot would interpret it in terms of, well, I'm just gonna break shit. No, that's not what it means. It means that this vibrational prison that we all are born into, this matrix, needs to be uh, expanded, or our influence over this matrix needs to be expanded. Okay, that's what that means. Okay, good. I heard turning into negative polarity turns us feminine, which will make us turn inside, and all back blockages will automatically get removed. Bro, I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Um, all right. Oh, the me's. All right. Remember, guys, we need 20 me's. If you want me to create something about chaos magic that you can learn, we need 20 me's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, 14. 15. Okay, in 5 minutes, I'm gonna end this live stream. We need 5 more me's if you want me to create something on chaos magic. What is black alchemy? Bro, seriously, to me, this sounds like, um, how do I put it, man? You know, in the last couple of years, this whole thing about magic has turned into this um, into clickbait. Okay, into this clickbait thing of where you can now buy this grimoire with another with one of the you know, buy this grimoire, which is the most forbidden that's ever been forbidden, the most forbidden of all the forbidden ones, in the darkest of the darkest magic, out of the darkest realm, out of Darkland. That's essentially the clickbait that's been out there for a couple of years now. You know, and it's a little bit. It's like adolescent bullshit. It's like, oh yeah, I'm so rebellious. I'm so evil. Oh, I practice black magic. I'm so evil. It's retarded, man. It's like it's for children. And that's, no offense, but that's how this black alchemy sounds. Alchemy is alchemy. It's a spiritual practice where you transform things internally before you can transform them externally. It's a spiritual practice that requires, yeah, an approach to duality in some way or another. But there's no only black alchemy. That does not exist. Sounds like clickbait. It sounds like, oh yeah, the blackest darkest alchemy that is even more uh, forbidden than the most forbidden alchemy in the past, out of the forbidden land. You know, yeah. So so um, let's see how to activate our light bodies, but I don't have time to answer that right now. Top G. I'm baller. Diary entries of a 16-year-old. Yeah. Uh, how important is numerology, life path numbers, etc.? Does it supersede astrology? They're complementary. These things are complementary. When it comes to figuring out your life path, you should, I mean, for me personally, I think, and not just life path. I mean, I'm saying that because you mentioned uh, you mentioned numerology to figure out your life path. I mean, that's um, I mean, your birthday and all that stuff is definitely important for that, but combine different sources of information. Okay, so normal um, divination in terms of tarot, chamalongos or something like that. Astrology, your birth chart is definitely important, you know, and much more. So yeah, your life path is good to know that number, but it's only think about it. There are just a couple of numbers, but there are so many different people. They're so individual, so individualistic. So it can help and give you a general direction, but it's not really that accurate. You're not going to get that much out of it. Okay, well, you should also look into human design, for instance. Okay, human design also helps. How long does creative visualization take to manifest? I got that one. Okay, me. Now we got 16 me's. We need four more. If you want me to create something on Chaos Magic, we need four more. Yeah, me's. Four more e's. Okay, why do you post it? That we need to control. Honestly curious. Why do you pause it that we need control? Honestly curious. Why do I pause it that we need control? Because I'm sane. Only an insane individual would want less control. It's like, I mean, my definition of control is I can start something, I can keep it running, I can stop it. Okay, so if I'm um, if I'm sitting inside of a car, I want control over that car. I want to be able to start it. I want to be able to keep it running, and I want to be able to shut it down when I want. And I believe if you're a sane individual, you should want as much control over your life as you can have, as you can get. Everything else is insanity to me because that means that you're okay with being a leaf in the wind, and I think that's not going to work out positively in most cases. I mean, maybe if you're Forrest Gump, once in a while it's going to work out for you. You're a leaf in the wind, and by chance and through luck, good things are going to happen. But in 99.99999% of the cases, it's not going to end well for you if you have no control. That's why that's why control is good. Are you equating a car to infinite intelligence? Does that seem like a fair comparison? Sane? Uh, Now, first of all, you're mixing subjects here. What are you talking about? You asked me for control, or you asked me why I want control. I want control over my life. Yes. Infinite intelligence coincides with infinite awareness, which is not going to happen inside of a physical body. And when you have infinite awareness, it also means that you have no physical location. It means that you have no need for control of any kind because everything is happening at the same time in all places, and you're everywhere and anywhere at all times, which has nothing to do with your life experience, I assume, since you're able to use a keyboard or whatever you're using to comment here. So your comment doesn't really make sense. I know you were trying to checkmate me, Mr. Smart, but you are mixing subjects here. I recently learned about human design, but I like astrology more for predicting. Maybe I'll give HD a closer look. Yeah, why not? Okay. Okay. So, a big question, maybe not for this, but beyond all the gods, the entities. Hold on, one second. A big question, maybe not for this, but beyond all the gods, the entities, the egregories, the various beings, do you believe there is an ultimate creator? I do believe that, yes. I do believe so. But I mean, within the life experience, I'm not trying to checkmate. I'm actually curious. You obviously know more about this than I do. Yeah, I also know how to spell. Why should magic work if we don't know what we don't want? Well, we need 99% of the time. Why? Hold on. Why should magic work if we don't know what we don't know? Okay, this is um what we need. Hmm. Well, um, why should magic work if we don't know what we don't know? This question doesn't make sense because okay, let me give you an analogy. Because magic is something that is based on laws, okay? So why should gravity work if we don't know what we don't know? If I take something and drop it, it's going to fall down, okay? Because this is a law. A law allows you to explain past phenomena and predict phenomena that are in the future. What you are doing is probably have zero experience with magic. And no offense, you're probably just studying it intellectually, and you have not understood yet that there are laws. If you use specific techniques during the ritual, you will get results if you use them correctly. This is a science, okay? So it has nothing to do with what's best for you, what's good for you, and all that shit. If you use the system, you make it work. There's not some outside authority, a god that is um, there's not an ultimate rule what you can do and what you can't do. You get what I mean? It's something that you use. It has nothing to do with if it's good for you or not. You can hurt yourself. You can destroy yourself with magic. It has nothing to do with what's good for you and what you need. It's a technique. It's a system that you can plug yourself into and use it and get certain results in the outside world. That's it. It has nothing to do with right or wrong. It is what it is. You can run against the wall and break your nose. It has nothing to do with good or bad. It is what it is. You can do it or not. That's it. Good. We got 17 me's. Or was it 18? Hold on. Okay. I guess you don't want to learn about chaos magic then. That's fine. That's interesting, mate. I'm just trying to understand the metaphysics of it. My friend, if you want to understand metaphysics, don't try to go beyond. If you want to understand the metaphysical, you got to understand the physical first. You understand one thing through its opposite. If you want to understand the biggest, study the smallest. If you want to understand what's metaphysical, study the physical. Through going deeper into the physical, you will begin to understand the metaphysical. If you want to understand your spirit and your mind, understand your body, test your body, you know? And this is another big point that a lot of occultists don't get. Most occultists, a lot of occultists, completely up here, completely in the brain. But if you want to understand the spirit, you need to understand the body. Through restriction, you gain uh, transcendence. Yeah, that's how it works. Okay, so I'm going to give it 3 more minutes. Last chance, guys. If you want to learn about chaos magic, I need 2 more me's. Type in me, and I'm going to create something for you about chaos magic. And I'm going to take 2 more questions, and then I'm going to sign off. It's pretty late. It's 2:12. Hi. Man, I don't know where all these new people are coming from. Ahmad Fadil. I've never seen this name before. Usually I have a very, very small audience, which is intended to be small. But all these new people, you know, that's strange. How you doing, Mr. Fadil? Okay, maybe I lost a question here or missed one. Um, let's see. Have you ever worked with Zalmoxis? It's a Thracian deity that's that fascinated the Greeks. No, I've never worked with that. Um, I've never worked with that guy. He's gay like P. Diddy parties. Wow. My question is, won't we not necessarily get what we visualize during the ritual? Oh, God. Okay, what's this now? No bitches. Where the fuck are all these people coming from? Listen, I'm getting messages here, which is really. I usually don't have idiots like that on my live streams. What's going on here? He's gay like P. Diddy. Oh man, this is funny. Black alien. Jeez. Unhalen. Where the fuck are these people coming from? Don't only subscribers see that you go live? I thought that's how it works. Lorena says hello. Yeah, hi. How's it going, Lorena? We can't call it cool at 17. Can you stand on a fast food counter and manipulate the cashier mind to give food for free? I need, okay. I need one more good question, and I'm going to wrap this up. Also, we need two more me's if you want me to create something for Chaos Magic. My sorry, me Argentina. You're from Argentina? Okay, no problem. Does having a clean energy system from meat help in manifesting what we want? I believe so. Yes, I believe that. Hello. Hello. I can attest to the raw food diet as Frank recommends. Yeah, raw food's the best. For sure. Cool. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up now. Hopefully, you got something out of this. And we're going to talk to you soon. Bye.